Hi, welcome. It's time for OnSide SA show. We're nearing the festive season and we're certainly looking like we're going to lose people in the last one standing. Budge, I remember people blamed Spurs that I was one.
Yeah.
Now they've managed to win a game, I'm off their case, especially away from home. Arsenal have become the new Dagger boys.
Arsenal, Paul.
Place is crawling with people.
Yeah, crawling with jabs too. Can you imagine being in Liverpool at the moment with the Everton fans? But a couple of them, they want him out, Paul. Sad to say. And a lot of boys in South Africa want him out.
But Budge, a top Arsenal fan who flew over and watched him play the other day said his mates told him they're all in a race out of boxes and that, so I suppose they're close to the action. They gave him, Emre, 6 games to turn it around, and he's had 2. Okay. So basically, people saying, is he going to get fired next week? This is the talk, you never know.
Fair enough, yeah.
You know, obviously with Pochettino, surprised some people, didn't surprise some others.
Yeah.
Obviously, the boy at Southampton.
He's under pressure,
He's under pressure. The boy at West Ham.
Yeah, Pellegrini.
And then, of course,
Everton, Arsenal, it didn't help the boys on the last one standing, Paul.
No, let's talk about last one standing, Budge. 159 is now 34.
Paul, Arsenal, Everton.
I can never get into the final 10%. Yeah. It's amazing. Stevie B? Gone.
He was going to go Spurs and change to Arsenal. All your boys are gone.
Charlie Pigram Spurs?
Good night.
Okay, I'm going to have a look. I can see the boys who went through at Leicester.
Yeah.
They won comfortably. Tottenham, they were always comfortable even though it got close later. And Liverpool, they could have been gone.
Yeah.
There could be 27.
John Muscovy sneaked in again,
The guys. Okay, now let's have a look at the guys who've got them left.
Yeah.
Guillaume now.
Guillaume, my boss, cruising. Two in, with Liverpool and Leicester.
Manny Almeida,
Darius
brother?
Boy, Darius, brother,
Powers too, I don't know Powers.
You know Powers, you've spoken to him. He's at Club Tab. He was on Everton the previous week.
Is that his nickname?
That's his nickname.
Powers too, a powerful guy.
Yep, strong gym boy.
Gary Sitton without the E.
Without the E, did well to get through.
He's in 2, eh?
Yeah.
Mike McManus, great guy.
Michael, yeah.
And then pick of the week was Powers on Wolves.
Paul, they were 18-10 away from home. I sat with him on Friday at Club Tab and all the guys, Arsenal, Everton, he said, no, I'm going against the grain. I'm going with Wolves.
Has he only got one?
No, he's got 2 picks. He had 2 on Wolves.
Total favourite now is Dylan Horn.
Yeah, that's Raymond's son.
Is that Raymond's son? Is he in security as well?
Yeah. You've got to keep an eye on his old man. But
Dylan's in shape?
No, not anymore. He broke his leg playing rugby for Crusaders. Good scrum half.
Because Reggie Shalembi.
Yeah, no, that's
I got a note from Reggie the other day. Great man. Loves his surfing. Reggie Shalembi is one of the legends of the game. Good family.
Yeah, good man.
Very, very good men, those. Okay. Survivors. I've got some mullet here. I've got to keep Stum here, Budge, because a few of them will have a go at me.
Well, that's why I gave you the list, Paul.
Doug Steyn.
Dougie Steyn, yeah.
Remember his brother, the goalie?
Yeah. Colin, yeah.
That's right, Colin Steyn.
Yeah.
Des Fourie, brother to Trevor, elder brother to Trevor, run 3 or 4 comrades.
Des has always been a sneaker.
Yeah, he thinks. How did Napier get through?
Well, we'll find out about it later.
Yeah, that's right.
Cruise through.
Lawrence Werner's good to see him there. Him and Jared are always involved.
Yeah.
Paddy Loker, the commercial director, we're good to see. Sean Phillips, too, another man. Anthony Sewer's always involved.
Yeah, he was stiff. He had 5 picks. He lost 4. Arsenal and Everton killed Ant, but
okay. Let's get hold of Stevie B, the main man. The man you can't boot, shoot or electrocute. Here he is. Stevie, you're online?
I am. Good morning.
Morning. How's London?
Cold, wet, dark, but otherwise it's fine.
Sounds like a Guinness.
It's a lot better after Fulham's 2 victories, no doubt.
No, absolutely. I mean, I said before we could do with 6 points there, and didn't play as well as they could against QPR, but were good value on the Tuesday against I thought a very poor Derby side.
Yeah. Where does it put you in the league? Top 4?
Third.
We're third at the moment.
That's
third on goal difference. So, but there's a little gap now. West Brom and Leeds had put together a few wins as well. So it's tight. I mean, there's still not much to choose between, say, 3rd and 7th, 8th. But I think teams can't afford to lose ground. So West Brom and Leeds just seem to be grinding out results.
Yeah,
Preston lost last night.
Murdered 4-0. Yeah.
For who thumped them?
Hull City. Jared Bowen scored a couple again.
He's a superb player. Spurs were after him, sure. Yeah. So I know West Brom won again.
West Brom, yeah.
West Brom won, and Leeds Leeds have won their last 2 away with goals in the last 5 minutes. So, that's the mark of a good team. They were under the cosh a little bit at the game at Luton and against Reading in the first half, but held out, came back strong and scored late winners.
Excellent. Okay, let's first talk Champions League, Stevie, because my beloved Spurs have won 2 in a row, so expect hail.
Yep.
But Tuesday, obviously, I don't miss a moment of when they play. A bit of a shock start, I thought.
Well, I saw the highlights and I was sort of following it while I was at Fulham, and at 2-0 down, you thought, this is not the sort of result that they were expecting, or even with Jose Mourinho's first home game. But I think having sort of got maybe it's like a fortuitous goal just before half time, and they came out, they were a different team in the second half, and obviously at the end deservedly won. But I think it's still a bit worrying that having conceded those 2 soft goals, they'll need to sort of tighten up at the back. But ultimately, when you think of how they started, and with that defeat at home to Bayern Munich to have qualified with a game to spare, I think that's to their credit.
Steve,
can I just interrupt you? But just while we're talking about Tottenham and Finisham, I think you hit the nail on the head. Jose has worked out who his best players are, especially those ones going forward, and he's playing them.
Yeah.
Good theory.
Well, I think if you think of what he did, he's not afraid to change things. So 28 minutes, he hoiks off Eric Dyer and brings on Eriksen, and ultimately, made a difference. He obviously realised that he needed a little bit more flair. So, he's not afraid to do things. It could have backfired on him, but ultimately it worked out well, and it was a good result. And I wouldn't. Whether he wants to or not, you'd think that he would rest some of his key players in Munich. They can't finish above them. They can't finish below where they are. So why risk any of your key players?
Yeah, I know Mourinho from his Chelsea days when he first came, and if his best 11's available, he's going to play them. And if you want to go far again like they did last year, Spurs, why not have a dip at Bayern Munich? I would go there and have a go. I watched them the other night a little bit. They're superb going forward, but defensively, they dodgy with Boateng and that Javi Martinez.
We got 2 goals against it.
So if I was Mourinho, it's a freebie, in my opinion. But
you're right. There's an argument to say that Munich might decide that obviously having won it, they might rest 1 or 2. So you're right, because if they give them a good game and surprise them, then I suppose it bodes well for them in the knockout stage. Yeah. So there is an argument for that. I'm not sure what else if obviously they've now got quite a few games coming up. Obviously, you've got midweek games next week, and then obviously the big Christmas New Year run. But you might be right. He might want to use that to change 1 or 2 things, to get a look at 1 or 2 other combinations of players that he hasn't seen yet. So, as you say, he is a freebie. It doesn't matter what the result is. It's not going to make any real difference.
Yeah.
Man City
1-1. I see he rested a few players. What's going on there, Steve? It seems to be
there's just something's not quite right. When they're at it, they're really at it. But I thought that Chelsea played really well at times and were probably a little bit unlucky. There's just something you just can't put your finger on it. There's something not quite right there. We know that obviously they've got defensive frailties, and missing sort of 1 or 2 at the back. But when you look at where had they not have beaten Chelsea, they could have found themselves quite a way adrift.
Yeah.
So. They're not going to. You can't write them off, but they're going to have to just sort of putting a sort of run together of sort of 8-10 wins on the spin to get back to challenging Liverpool. I think at the moment. Yeah,
disappointing result against Shakhtar. Now I watched the Real Madrid PSG. It's the best game I've watched this year,
it was a good game,
quality-wise. And PSG. I think they are the favourites by Man City. They had 10 minutes of the ball, could have scored 5 goals.
Yeah, I heard that they were 80 minutes. It was sort of almost game over, and then they sort of woke up and finished strong. So I think you're right. But in the league, they have lost 1 or 2, but they're going to win that league easily. So I guess the pressure's off them to a certain extent. They can save themselves for the Champions League, which ultimately that's what it's all about for them. Because keep winning the French league and nothing else, I don't think that really says much about them as a club.
Yeah, if Neymar stays fit. Yeah, I think they're the team to beat in that Champions League, no doubt. Remember, United beat them last year, that miracle result with a last-minute penalty, because that was their mission. And I think if they don't win it this year, there's no doubt the boss is fired. But I think they're there. I was really impressed with PSG. With Real Madrid. They seem to have turned it around a bit.
Yeah, and I understand that, obviously he's getting booed early on, Gareth Bale, but he nearly scored a winner.
Yeah, hit the post, injury time.
I thought, it's a results-based business. He starts scoring goals, baking goals, the Madrid fans will be cheering him.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Wednesday, Vudge?
Well, Valencia, Chelsea. Do you think Chelsea got out of jail with that one?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, Valencia certainly missed some chances early on. But Chelsea, I think, obviously losing Tammy Abraham at sort of, and I understand that injury there early to assess, but he might be out a little while. He got stretchered off at the end, but and I think that'd be a shame because he's just really starting to hit his straps and score some goals. But it was a good result. I mean, that was a game that they couldn't lose. If they lost, they're pretty much out. Yeah. Now, they're favourites to go through. I mean, with obviously Ajax home to Valencia, a Chelsea win guarantees them through, and a draw might do as well. So, I think they're in a good position.
Yeah, I see Liverpool. I watched a little bit of it last night. That Fabinho came off with an ankle injury. Is that serious or just precautionary?
Again, it's just early. It's too early to. They'll probably assess him in the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
But again, Liverpool can't afford to sort of lose, and they. Again, for the bits I saw, they still struggled a little bit, and now they're in a slightly tricky position because they go to Red Bull. They can't afford to lose that. Yeah. And Red Bull are scoring goals for fun. I mean, they average pretty much 3 a game.
Yeah.
They do concede, but that's an all or nothing game. Liverpool going to have to be at their best because Red Bull are going to throw everything at them. A draw takes them through, but a defeat, and then it's head to head, and it's I think they're under a little bit of pressure. Of all the English teams, I think Liverpool are the ones who are under more pressure now.
Yeah, it seems strange, but I agree. Steve, the guy watched Barcelona, Dortmund. Dortmund, I don't know what's wrong with him. They just can't defend. Hummels at the back looks like he's lost a yard.
Yeah.
Did you watch that or did you see the highlights?
No, I've just seen the highlights late last night, and you look comfortable enough for them. Again, you get the impression there's something not quite right there. Jadon Sancho, sort of rumour is that he's not that happy. He'd like to come back to England now. So, they're not having the best season in the Bundesliga. So
he scored a good goal. He took it very well. Good feet.
Yeah, no, he's a good young player, and I'd like to see him back in England. I mean, he obviously.
He's coming to Man United if ever there's somebody, whether he's worth the 90 or 100 million.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's that's the problem, isn't it? They could. It's almost double what his true value, but if that's the going rate and they want him, obviously if he carries on at the rate he is, it could be worth more. But I think if they set their stall out and want to bring him back, I think he's a good young player, and I think he'd fit in really well up front with Rashford.
Yeah, I agree. Steve, on to the Premiership. Tottenham, Bournemouth, can the special one continue his winning record?
I think so. I mean, Bournemouth are a little bit hit and miss. I mean, they're nice to watch at times, but I think Tottenham should be too strong.
All right. Burnley, Crystal Palace. Palace they fought hard against Liverpool, but away from home.
Yeah, I mean, away in the park, I mean, it's often their strength. I mean, they sit deep, but Burnley are strong at home, and they're going to throw everything at them. I fancy Burnley. I think got the big boys up front, and they'll throw everything through. It'll be a close game, but I think Burnley will just edge that.
All right. Now the relegation battle of the weekend is Southampton against Watford. The losing manager could end up doing his job.
Well, it's interesting. For whatever reason, I was looking at the odds, and Ralph Hasenhüttl, he's drifted. I mean, he's now, he's nowhere near one of the favourites to go.
Okay.
Interesting, because now Southampton now play Watford, and then they play Norwich in their next two home games. So they've got an opportunity to get themselves out of the bottom three. Having not won at home, I think, as you say, Watford. Really poor result for them last weekend. I think if they lose that, Quique Sanchez-Flores is in real trouble. He's sort of starting to creep. He's about third favourite to go. Southampton haven't won at home, but I've got a feeling they could this week and possibly beat Norwich during the week and find themselves out of the bottom three. I wouldn't be surprised with that.
You're talking about Norwich. Norwich play Arsenal at home after their superb victory at Goodison Park. Can they upset the Gunners as well?
Well, I think they can. I was surprised. I really thought that Everton would be too strong for them.
Yeah.
Norwich hadn't scored in 5 away games. So, but they can see goals. I mean, Arsenal have got to be brave. I mean, with the forward line they've got, if they don't go to Norwich and score a couple of goals, you just think, what's going on? That is the sort of game that if they lose, then you really think that the end is going to be very close for Unai Emery. I mean, the fans, as I heard you before, they really want him out. He's odds-on favourite to be the next Premier League manager to get sacked, unless he can pull something out of the bag. And I think a defeat at Norwich, I think that the writing's definitely on the wall.
Yeah, rumour this morning is that they want Santo from Wolves, good manager from.
Yeah, he is a good manager. It'd be interesting because obviously he's part of something at Wolves. I mean, Fosun Group wouldn't want to lose him cheaply, but I guess if Arsenal come calling and give him the sort of reassurances he needs, then it is the sort of it'd be interesting to see how he does. He'd want to bring one or two of his own players with him, bring one or two new ones in, but he's made. Well, I mean, he's really turned Wolves' season round because they started off slowly, which I think was down to their Europa League early. But they're really hard to beat at the moment. So I just think there's just something wrong with Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal were very lucky to get out of jail against Southampton.
Yeah. Steve, talking about Santos teams, Wolves, you think they'll beat Sheffield United?
Well, I think that's going to be a really close game. Obviously, Wolves play again in the Europa League. Don't play Sheffield till Sunday, but Sheffield, showed a lot of fight. I mean, they were clear. I thought they were going to win that game comfortably when they got 2 up, and then at the end showed a bit of fight to get back in it. Still unbeaten away from home since January. So I think it's going to be a really close game. I think if Wolves pick up any injuries tonight, or if they got feeling a little bit lacklustre, Sheffield United, one thing you can't because they give 100% effort. So if you're not up to match them for effort, then I think that you come unstuck. I think it'll be close. I fancy Wolves though. I just think they're just putting together a little bit of a run at the moment, and I think they're playing some really good football.
All right, Steve, on to the Championship. Your beloved Fulham travel to Swansea on Friday, which will be on in South Africa. Can you keep your run going?
I think we can. I mean, unfortunately, we've just lost one or two key players out injured. 2 before, then 2 went off in the second half against Derby. Interesting to see whether we get any of them back. Swansea had a real shock result, losing at home to Millwall last weekend. I think that we're capable of going, and this is the sort of game that we need to go. We can win. We can sort of keep on the coattails, but draw wouldn't be the worst result.
What? The way Swansea's home record, I think you win easy, Steve. But as you say, the injuries are the trick.
It's a funny team. I mean, they are struggling at home. Look, it's the sort of game we should go and look to try and win. They can. They have played some good football. And I watched them when they play Cardiff at home, and they look good going forward. But I think we've got to be brave, and I think we can win it. And again, playing on Friday like we did last week, if you can get that win, then you can sit back and watch the others all drop points at the weekend.
That's true. Now, the only team you dropped ball with, the only team that beat Fulham this year was Barnsley. I think they've only won 1 league game.
I know. I mean,
how do you think they'll go against Hull?
Well, it's a bit of a derby. I think they'll give them a good game, but Hull. Hull, if they play like they did last night, or they did when they won at Fulham, I think Hull City will win. They're just putting a bit of a run together. They're a little bit off the playoffs, not far off the playoffs at the moment. So I think that's a game Hull City are going to target. So, and with the players they got up front, sort of Jared Bowen, I'd be surprised if they didn't win that.
Yeah. Bristol City host Huddersfield Town.
Yeah, Bristol City have just had a little bit of a wobble. I mean, they haven't lost many, but they haven't won many in the last 6. Huddersfield, under the Cowleys, have only lost 1 game. I think that's going to be a tight game. I wouldn't be surprised if Huddersfield hold them.
Okay, now one team that's in good form is Nottingham Forest. You think they'll be too good for Cardiff?
I think they will. I mean, Cardiff away from home have been pretty poor this season. Obviously, they've got a new manager. They won the other night. I think it'll be a close game, and I think Forest should just edge that.
All right, and last but not least, Steve, the second big result for you this weekend will be West Brom going to Deepdale to play my Preston boys. Can you sense an upset?
I really hope that you can bounce back. West Brom have been very consistent, grinding results out. Had a good win last night. Bristol City pegged it back to 2-1 with a few minutes to go, and they got 2 late goals, West Brom, to make it look comfortable. I think Preston are going to have to go for this because, West Brom are playing, as I say, I think they're easily the most consistent team, and they deserve to be top at the moment. So I think a win for Preston, or even a draw, I think would be a decent result.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think you're right.
Excellent. Well, that's it, Stevie. Wonderful. We'll be watching your boys on Friday night. Another win will put you right in the scrum.
Yeah, I hope so. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Steve. All the best. Thank you, Steve.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. All right. Let's get on to the Premier League. And when does it start? Saturday?
It's Saturday, yeah.
Newcastle hosting Man City. Is that the opening
That's
salvo?
the open game. Paul, you know, we had over 2.5 goals to come for a nice bet on Monday. I thought Newcastle would score, but they were woeful.
Were they?
Aston Villa destroyed them. And then the worst thing about it was Aston Villa should have gone for the jugular. They just kept the 2 goals. You could see they'd lost 3 in a row. Paul, I just don't see. I know they beat them last year.
Yeah.
But I just don't see it with Newcastle. Andy Carroll came on. They look a poor team. I know at St James's, the fans will be into it early, but 1 City score, wouldn't be taking 1-5, Paul. But, you know, it should be Man City all day.
Burnley, Crystal?
Yeah, I agree. You know, Burnley, you know, it'll be miserable up there, Paul. You know, speaking to the locals, the weather's turned nasty up north. You've got to fancy them, but Crystal Palace have this knack of producing results away from home.
Yeah.
So Burnley should win, Paul, but I'm always sceptical of Palace away from home. They're better on the counter-attack than at home, and they fought hard against Liverpool. You know, but Burnley, it should be Burnley, Paul, but I've thrown the draw in all our exotics. Burnley in a draw for me there.
Now Chelsea are doing well. West Ham in trouble.
He's in serious trouble, Paul. You know, when you watch West Ham, last week they were woeful against Spurs. You know, you listen to all the pundits, they think he's in serious trouble. But when Noble, I don't like the midfield, Noble and the other youngster that they say worth 50 million. I doubt it. Anderson's been missing.
Rice?
Rice, Declan Rice. Anderson is, Yarmolenko's been poor of late. And the Brazilian, Felipe Anderson, he's their key man. He's been woeful. And if those two don't play, they're going to get murdered, Paul. And the way Chelsea are going. Kante's back. You know, he's not playing well.
What latest for Tammy up front? They've got players who can come in for him.
Yeah, no, they've got players, Paul. It should be 3 to 10 is very short, but the way West Ham are going, Paul. No, it's a London derby. Other fans don't like each other on the pitch. It's a mismatch. Chelsea all day.
Liverpool should be keep
rolling.
rolling.
Should be, Paul. You know, but slowly but surely, you know, the excuses are coming out. Oh, we've got a busy schedule. Well, you've got 25 players. You know, Fabinho went down. All they've got to do is have Salah or one of the big boys go in up front. You know, Van Dijk got a knock with a goal, and the game's on. But Brighton, Paul, good to watch, possession-wise. But Liverpool at Anfield, I think it's 20 wins and a draw at Anfield. Yeah. In the last 21 home league games, I think it's 43 games. So 1-5, Paul. The betting gives it away.
Tottenham Hotspur 4-10. Bournemouth.
Paul, you know, the special one, I like Mourinho. He's just, you know, he's got something to prove again. There should be. I think there's goals here, Paul. I think it's over 3.5, 16-10. That's for me. You know, I think Bournemouth will score purely because Mourinho will play one holding and bomb the rest forward. They'll catch you on the break. 4-1, something like that, Paul, the Spurs. That's what I think.
Okay, let's go have a look at Southampton, Watford. It's Humdinger.
Paul, this is a pressure game. You know, you just don't know with Watford. You know, I think Troy Deeney may be available. We may start. And if he plays, at least you've got a leader. Southampton at home, Paul, I don't know what it is. I think they've won 1 game. I think it's like the last 11 home games. That's when they've beat Wolves. Terrible. They've got 1 point this year from the draw with United. They've been terrible at home. But in fairness, they should have beat Arsenal last week. Injury time goal. So that's why he still got the job. I think a draw 24-10, just both managers, a fear of defeat, be the worst result for both of them. But the draw would be my play in that game.
The second worst result.
Yeah. Well, sure.
Norwich, Arsenal.
Paul, I just don't know what to make of Arsenal, you know. Didn't know what to make of Norwich last week. I didn't see them going to Goodison and beating Everton, but that should inspire them. The thing is, at home, they concede too many goals. So I think it's 5-10, both teams to score over 2.5 goals. If I had to have a bet, this is a great chance for Arsenal to get back, Paul.
Yeah. Wolves, Sheffield United,
I like Wolves, hard game. Yeah, Sheffield United, Paul, for 70 minutes were outstanding against United. Jeez, United were disgraceful, Paul. But in saying that, you've got to give full credit to Sheffield United. But I like this Wolves team. I just think they'll sneak it. I know they've got the Europa League, but, you know, since Traore's been playing up front, you know, he's a greyhound, big, strong lad up front. They've come right. 9-10 for me, Wolves.
Leicester, Everton.
It's got to be Leicester, Paul. I think there'll be plenty of goals in it, and Vardy will score. 6-10. They've won the last 6. They've only lost to Liverpool, Paul. And at home, going well. And Everton, you just don't know what you're going to get. You know, and the form that Leicester are in, you've got to think they'll beat Everton at home.
United, Villa?
Yeah, I think we'll win, Paul. He's not going to take the main boys. But my mate sent me a clip from Kazakhstan. It's snowing. 6 o'clock they arrived yesterday morning. The boys are there for the Astana game tonight. Aston Villa, I was impressed with them Monday night. They had a full go. At the back, a little bit, mix and match. But going forward, that McGinn can play, Grealish, the guy Wesley up front. I think it's Wesley, the big Brazilian centre forward. You know, I think there's plenty of goals in that. But United have got to win that, Paul.
Championship?
Championship, Paul.
Swansea,
a couple
Fulham,
of days
Friday
for my
night.
boys. Yeah, I think Fulham, Paul. The injury is the concern. Swansea don't win at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got beat last week by Millwall in a game I thought they would win. They drew in midweek, 1-1 at Huddersfield. Yeah, it's a Friday game. Otherwise, I'll put in our bets, Paul. I'm going to back Fulham at 15-10. Charlton has goals in this, Paul. You never know with Lee Boyer's team. Sheffield Wednesday, Gary Monk's done a good job. He went to Birmingham last night, and that was where he was fired from. And reportedly, the managers never shook hands. There was verbal in the press beforehand. They drew 1-1. Of the two teams, Paul, I like Sheffield Wednesday, but they draw a big play in the lunchtime kickoff in England.
Hull on a roll?
Yeah, I think Hull will win, Paul, 15-10. Barnsley, I think it's 17 games now they haven't lost. They beat Fulham in the first game, and they haven't won since.
Okay.
Hull City, it should be. They got beat last night, Barnsley, by Middlesbrough, who hadn't won in 9.
Yeah.
I don't see it getting any better.
Okay, Birmingham,
Yeah,
Millwall.
I like Birmingham here, Paul. Hard to beat at home, St Andrews, but Millwall on a bit of a roll under the new manager, Gary Wright. A draw in Birmingham for me there.
Brentford, Luton.
Yeah, Brentford got beat 1-0 last night by Blackburn, but they've got to beat Luton. Luton are struggling, can't keep a clean sheet. I think there's plenty of goals there, Paul. For value, I think it's 16-10, over 3.5 goals. That would be my play there, but Brentford should be too good for Luton.
Huddersfield making a bit of
they're hard to
resurgence.
beat. They only lost at Preston, and Preston blitzed them in the first 20 minutes. We scored 3 goals. Disappointing Bristol City, Paul. They're 7th, but just when you think they're going to put a run together, they tend to fall out. I don't see them losing to Huddersfield. That's Lee Johnson. He's been there a while since he beat Man United in the League Cup. He's done a good job, Paul. Bristol City in a draw for me there in a tight game.
The fading derby.
Well, they've won the last 5 at home in the league. Away from home, they're terrible. Yeah, you just can't catch QPR, Paul. They got murdered last night by Notts Forest. I think it was 4-0. It should be 14-10 derby, but I don't like teams that keep winning 1-0 at home every week.
Yeah.
So QPR score, but you've got to think derby would beat QPR, Paul.
Leeds.
Should be. They won the last 4, and as Steve said, they keep sneaking results. Middlesbrough won their first game in 9. Jonathan Woodgate goes back to the club that made him. He'll try and keep it tight, Paul, but Leeds should be too good for them.
Notts Forest doing all right.
Yeah, I fancy Forest, Paul. I think I think they'll get in the playoffs. I think they're the playoff contender to come up. Cardiff away from home, haven't won in 7. 14-10 all day for me, Paul. Notts Forest.
Stoke City still way down the log.
Well, they won the first 2 games under Mark O'Neill. They went to Cardiff last week and got beat 1-0. Blackburn always score, Paul, but that's I think there's goals in that game. But Stoke, he's tightened them up. They're not conceding. Butler's not throwing them in anymore. It's got to be Stoke.
He's got players.
He's got players, Paul. They spend a lot of money at Stoke.
Wigan, Reading.
Oh, big game, Paul. Both near the bottom of the league. Reading have improved since Mark Bowen. They got beat. Leeds squeaked past them in midweek, scored late on. Wigan at DW Stadium are hard to beat, Paul. Exotics, it's all 3. If I had to side with a team, I would go Wigan in the draw, Paul, just because they're at home.
But you have to win this weekend.
Yeah, I don't see it, Paul. We've got several injuries according to the reports. West Brom are a good team. They always score. I think there's plenty of goals in this, Paul.
Yeah.
We've lost our last 2, but we've got the best home league record, 7 wins and 2 draws. I don't think we'll win. I just hope we don't get beat, Paul. But it would be West Brom in a draw for me there. But it's a Monday game. Reportedly, it's on. So something to watch.
Let's go look at the PSL midweek results bunch. Firstly, Sundowns beat Amazulu 1-0.
Yeah, 1-0. Yeah, they made a lot of changes, Sundowns. They're playing the CAF Champions League this week. So they changed his team pits up.
Pirates sneak past Polokwane.
Yeah, it was funny, Paul. It was the Champions League game one I was watching, and both 2 players got sent off. The guy that scored the goal against Egypt, Lorch, good player.
Yeah, he is.
The guy kicked him.
Plays for his country.
We got kicked, and all of a sudden their heads clashed. They went down like they've both been headbutted. No one touched them, but they both got sent off. And Pirates came right. They won 3-1. Polokwane scored an injury time. No, they scored an injury time to make it 3-2. But Pirates look a good team, Paul. I think
Highlands, Bidvest, Wits.
They've just gone missing. Highlands. Yeah, that was 1-1. They scored late, Wits. Highlands have just, fallen off the bus since they got beaten in the Telkom final.
Then on Wednesday, Bloem Celtic, Cape Town City, no score.
Yeah, no score, Paul. The new guy, Riekerink, I think his name is a Dutchman's gone to, he's taken over from Benny. Obviously going to try and keep it tight, but good point for them.
Chipper 3-0 over Black Leopards.
They come right. Black Leopards are in trouble, Paul. If they don't start getting results at home, they're in serious trouble.
Baraka lost at home to Golden Arrows.
Yeah, Baraka never won at home, Paul.
Yeah.
Golden Arrows, Steve's done well. They jumped to 4th.
Jeez, that's very good. Marisburg got beat at home to SuperSport.
Paul, you know, I watched they murdered Chiefs. I had a nice couple of bets
Chiefs.
coming with Chiefs. And the Sunday Telcom,
Yes.
they destroyed them. They made 1 million changes, which was expected. I had a lot of doubles going through that never clicked on SuperSport. So I had to back them at 18-10. So I got a bit of my money back, Paul.
Kaiser Chiefs thumped Stellenbosch.
Yeah, well, you know, after a humiliation on Sunday when they got beat by Maritzburg, they had to bounce back. Few players come back. Felt sorry for Steve Barker, but you know, the Chiefs going well. Bad result, you know they're going to come back.
The PSL log, top of the log, Kaiser Chiefs 31. Then you drop 10 points, Budge.
Sundowns, yeah.
Sundowns,
Got a game in hand.
Only one game in hand.
Yeah.
SuperSport, 20 points.
Yeah.
And Golden Arrows, 20. Wow, Budge.
Yeah,
Kaiser Chiefs got a
I think they've won 10 of the 12 games, Paul.
Yeah, they got a stranglehold.
Yeah.
And then the bottom end of it.
Oh,
bottom of the log, Chipper United.
Yeah, they've won their last 2.
10 points. AmaZulu 11.
Yeah.
Stellenbosch 11. Black Leopards 12. You're right, they could get into scrumming.
They don't get results at home. It's like Stellenbosch. Hard to get results away from home, Paul.
All right, Budge, let's look at their fixtures this weekend.
You know, big game. Polokwane have lost their last 6.
Wow.
You know, and they play a Bloemfontein Celtic team who haven't beaten like the last 4 games. Tight game, Paul. You know, I think the draw's the player there. Desperation game for Polokwane.
Okay.
18-10's a draw. You know, I like Golden Arrows, Paul, 16-10, but it's hard winning in Toyondo.
Yeah.
They'll park the bus, no doubt. If he gets beat, he's in trouble, that Luke email, the Belgian.
Yeah.
Steve Compella's done a good job at Arrows.
Yeah, it definitely is. Cape Town City at home now.
I think there'll be goals in this, Paul. You know, Owen De Gama, you know, he's under pressure. They haven't won, I think it's like 7 games. Cape Town City at home, hard to beat in the Cape Town Stadium, Paul. Wouldn't be taking even money. I think it was 12-10, both teams to score. But Cape Town City are the 2 teams.
And SuperSport,
Yeah, I like SuperSport. They won last night. They play a Stellenbosch team who are struggling. They got beat 4-0, so their heads will be down. 9-10. Good things, yeah.
AmaZulu Marisburg,
Well,
local.
You know, we had a nice bet to come our 6 on Exeter, but the game got changed from Zwelatini to Princess Magogo and Kwamashu. At Port, they were terrible. It's back in Umlazi. Now, Maritzburg, Paul, I think it's 2 weeks' time to the Cup final where they play Sundowns in Durban. I fancy AmaZulu. I wouldn't be going outright, but of the 2 teams, yeah, they'll still be gloating from the semi-final Maritzburg. So AmaZulu in the draw for me there.
Chipper.
Yeah, Paul, you never know with Baraka. Away from home, they've got far better results than they have at home. But Chipper have won their last 2. Don't think there'll be many goals in it, but if I had to have had a bet, it would be on Chipper, 11-10.
Right, Buzz, let's have a look at your soccer 6s and soccer 10s.
Okay, well, the first one is the Premiership, yeah. Burnley in the draw at home against Crystal Palace. I think Chelsea will be too good for Watford. I've gone Birmingham win and draw at home against Millwall. I've banked Derby to beat QPR, and I've gone the field in the Wigan, Reading, and Southampton Watford fixtures 2-1-6.
All right, the other one, Budge.
Onto the PSL Premiership, I've gone the field in the Polokwane Bloemfontein Celtic game. Likewise, the Black Leopards Golden Arrows clash. I've gone Cape Town City, win and draw at home against Highlands. I think Liverpool will be too good for Brighton. I'm looking for the upset with Spurs, you never know. You know, I think SuperSport are the best bet in the PSL, so I've banked them, thrown the draw in with Tottenham. You want to halve your perm, obviously bank a Spurs 108, but I've looked at looking for the upset there.
All right, your 10.
On to the 10. I've gone the field in the Polokwane City Bloem Celtic game. I've gone Burnley win and draw at home against Crystal Palace. I've banked Chelsea to beat West Ham, Liverpool to beat Brighton, Tottenham to beat Bournemouth. The next page, I've gone Birmingham City win and draw at home against Millwall. I've gone the field in the Black Leopards Golden Arrows match. I've gone Cape Town City win and draw at home against Highlands. I've got a funny feeling Watford are going to sneak something at Southampton, even though it's a 1-2-3 game, and I'm banking SuperSport to beat Stellenbosch 288.
All right, Bud's the big one.
On to the 13, Paul, yeah. I've banked Chelsea to beat West Ham, Liverpool to beat Brighton, Tottenham to beat Bournemouth. I've gone Burnley win and draw at home against Crystal Palace. I've gone the field in the Southampton versus Watford match. I've gone Derby win and draw at home against QPR. Birmingham win and draw at home against Millwall. Second page, I've gone Stoke win and draw at home against Blackburn. I've gone Notts Forest to beat Cardiff, Leeds United to beat Middlesbrough, and Brentford to beat Luton. In the last 2 games, I've gone Bristol City to beat win and draw Bristol City at home against Huddersfield, and I've gone Wigan win and draw at home against Reading 3-2-6.
Right, Budge, tell me about your bets.
Yeah, on to our bets, Paul. I've gone Wolves to beat Sheffield United. I think Man United will beat Aston Villa, and I think there'll be over 2.5 goals. I looked at a bet with the Tottenham game, Paul, and I thought over 3.5 goals in the Tottenham-Bournemouth game is good value.
Okay.
You know, Spurs are flying, and I think Bournemouth will score.
Okay.
And I don't see how Jamie Vardy can't score against Everton. Yeah, they'll get a penalty. I think they'll win easy.
He scores against everybody.
He scores against everybody, Paul. So 3,300 to 200 was our bet. Onto the championship, I've gone Notts Forest to beat Cardiff City. And then I've gone goals. I've gone over 2.5 goals in the Barnsley-Hull City game. Likewise, the Preston-West Brom fixture. And I've gone over 3.5 goals in the London derby, Brentford versus Luton Town, 3,500 to 200. Onto the PSL, I've gone Supersport to beat Stellenbosch. I've gone both teams to score in the Cape Town City versus Highlands game. And I've gone both teams to score no, meaning I don't think both teams will score in the Black Leopards Golden Arrows and Chipper United versus Barocca fixtures, 2,000 to 200. Now I've gone both teams to score yes, obviously clearing up anything from the previous bet. I've gone Tottenham Bournemouth, Norwich Arsenal, Birmingham Millwall, Brentford Luton, and Preston West Brom, 13 to 1, 2,600 to 200.
Okay.
On to Spain, where I've got the treble. I think Athletic Bilbao will be too good for Granada. I think Espanyol will beat Osasuna. And I've gone Seville to beat Leganes by more than 1 goal. I don't know how it ended up being a treble because I've added over 2.5 goals in the Alaves Real Madrid game, 2,900 to 200.
And the Collis King,
and our Collis King, 6 on Exa. I've gone Leicester to beat Everton. I've gone Liverpool to beat Brighton. I've gone Leeds to beat Middlesbrough, Notts Forest to beat Cardiff. I've gone Athletic Bilbao to beat Granada, and I've gone Sevilla to beat Leganes, 16 to 1, Paul, 3,200 to 200.
Right, your best bet, buds.
Our best bet's Notts Forest, Paul. You know, they've come right.
14 to 10.
14 to 10, Paul. Yeah, they play a Cardiff City team, haven't won away from home. And I think Notts Forest, I know the Championship's the hardest league to punt on, but it's the best value.
Yeah.
14 to 10, I think it's too big a price.
And your value bet?
My value bet's Hull City. They murdered Preston last night. They're on a roll, score goals, and Barnsley haven't won in 17, Paul. So they can't park the bus. They're going to have a go, and I think Hull City will destroy them.
Well, there we go, and that's it for this week. Make sure you get hold of your OnSide bets. Try and stay in. I think it's 30 odd.
34 left, Paul.
34 left. Get those bets and see if you can stay. Until next time, stay OnSide.